Hi and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a first impression and demo of the Kat Von D Lock-It Concealer Cream in the shade Whiteout. As you can see, this is a pure white concealer and it looks like this. It's kind of a bent wand and it is in fact pure white. I'm just taking the Nars concealer in Chantilly and I'm putting a little bit of that on the back of my hand as well. And I'm just going to kind of mix the two together. And I'm going to start putting that under my eye. And that's about a 1-to-1 mixture of the two. And to blend that in, I'm just taking a tiny sponge from Quo. This is already wet. And that's one eye versus the other eye. I'm taking a little bit more from the back of my hand. And again, one eye versus the other eye. You can see how this one's kind of brightened up a bit and this one is still pretty dark. And you could keep layering that up as much as you want. I'm just going to do the same thing on the other eye. I have both under eyes concealed now, and again that was a 1-to-1 mixture of the Whiteout concealer and Nars Chantilly. And I'm just going to set that with the same sponge and a little bit of my NYC loose translucent powder. For the concealer on the rest of my face, I'm still going to be using the Whiteout, but I'm also going to be using the NYX concealer because it's a little bit more pink toned, and this is 02 Fair instead of 01 Porcelain, which is what I usually use, but this is actually a little bit lighter and a little bit more pink, oddly enough. So, like that. And then just add the white next to it and mix it together. And this basically creates my skin tone, which is very, 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 very pale. And this is a slightly larger sponge, but it's from the same trio of sponges. That was a holiday trio from Quo. I got it for Christmas. And I'm just taking a Eco Tools fluffy brush. It's a blush brush. And this is what I use with my loose powder to set the face. And so that's how the concealer performs. I would say that the consistency is quite thick. I also find that it's a little bit dry under the eyes. I have particularly dry under eyes. I did use a lot of cream before applying it, so that helped. So if you do have very dry skin, that's something to mention. That's something to look out for. I know that the lightest skin tone shade is L1. I haven't tried that. It's a neutral shade, so I imagine it's a kind of a mix of yellow and pink. I wasn't comfortable purchasing that without trying it, which is why I just went with the white, because I knew that I could just mix that in with anything I had. And I could probably get my skin tone shade, which I did. The best skin tone shade is 1-to-1 of these two, because this one's pretty pink and then this one really lightens it. For these two, the reason why I put this one under my eyes is because it's quite a bit thicker and I need more of that coverage for my darker circles. So yeah, oh, another thing is it sets fairly quickly, so maybe just do one section at a time. And yeah, it looks like it's sitting on the skin quite nicely. I did set it with powder. I didn't notice that it was particularly tacky. I don't know if you need to set it with any powder. That was just my choice because I do crease pretty easily. I liked the wand. It is kind of that interesting shape. I found it easy to get into the corners, and it's flexible, so it bends a little bit. Around, I'll show you my basic everyday no makeup look that I tend to do on days where I don't feel like putting on a full face. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of concealer to my eyelids, and that's the NYX concealer. And the reason I do this, no matter what, is because I have so many veins that need covering up. And the more water I drink throughout the day, the more veins I get along here and along here. My skin is just very transparent. And again, you just want to set that with a little bit of powder. For blush, I'm going to be taking this shade here, which is a cream blush. It's the HD blush from Makeup Forever in the shade 220. On a little sponge like this, I'm just going to grab some of the product. And because this builds up really slowly, I find that this is very natural. For eyebrows, I just take my NYX Micro Brow in Ash Brown. I start by combing, whoops, wrong end, combing them up. I basically just want them to look filled in enough that they still look natural, but there aren't any thin spots. And then I just comb it all through again. Like that. I'm just going to add a little bit of color to the eyes, and I'm using this Maybelline The Nudes palette. And I'm just going to start by taking this matte cream shade. There are no shade names on here. I'm just going to use my Real Techniques shading brush and just kind of pat that all over the lid. It's just a little bit darker than my skin tone. And take a little bit of this kind of satin shade. Up here. And in the inner corner. And if you want to, you can take one of these shades and kind of go in the crease. I think I'm going to take this one today, just a little bit. Kind of on the tip of the brush. And just kind of go like this. And then kind of flip it like this. add a little bit of mascara. This is the Annabelle Blast Off mascara, which looks exactly like the Benefit Roller Lash. This is the Benefit Roller Lash, and this is the Annabelle mascara. You can see they both have these curved, rubberized wands, and they both have a little bit of flexibility to them, and they both achieve the same effect. So if you want to save yourself about $20 to $25, you can go to the drugstore if you live in Canada. I don't think Annabelle is sold in the US, but I'm not adding a lot, just a little bit. And for lips, I'm taking this little set of nude sticks. This is a limited edition set for the holidays. And I'm first going to take this color, which is called Sin, and it's a cream stick. And then taking the palest shade, which is called Pulse, and this is a gel color, which is kind of like a gloss, a nude gloss. And that's all I really do. So you can really do whatever you want, but I mean, this I feel is pretty close to being like no makeup, because you can tell a little bit that there's something there, but not very much. And yeah, that's basically what I would do on an everyday basis for either days when I don't want to wear very much, so it's like one step up from not wearing anything at all, and then a step down from going like full glam. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.